Hello everyone, today on Binky's Thoughts, after a long delay, I am going to explore some of your theories and expand on some previous theories with some notes that I took down from some of your comments. Now this video, I'm doing this a lot later than I was actually planning to. I've been under the weather and my voice only just came back, mostly, as you can kind of hear. So I'm taking plenty of vitamin C, tinctures, brews. I'm gonna try to do this as much as possible without coughing. Of course, I say it, I cough. It gets me thinking and wondering, because I know that the Chargers, they do poultices and potions and stuff like that. So it makes me wonder if something like elf fruit is the cure to the common cold or flu or something like that. All right. So as you can see, I attempted on doing a Vaseline today. It didn't work out as well as the other one, but it's the one that my Lavellan has. It's the simple version of Soleil's. So there's a theory that a guildmate of mine had first spoken to me about, but that some of you have been commenting about as well, which is that humans came from elves. If you think about it, elves did come first, and no one really knows where humans came from or how and stuff like that. The paintings on the walls of Skyhold that Solus painted, they could be because, like I said, because of what he did caused the fall of Lavellan and ultimately the Magisters to enter the Golden City and all that stuff. But if we go further than that and explore this particular theory, is the creation of the veil exactly the thing that created humans? You know, the veil, boom, boom, humans. So then on a side note for another theory, if you look at that, maybe Solus being the maker doesn't sound like such a weird idea after all. It could be plausible given these circumstances. I know for me personally, I find it kind of like a crazy theory, but when I look at this, it's kind of not that crazy anymore in a weird, crazy kind of, not so crazy kind of way. So let's see. The fall of Lavellan was when the veil was created. Humans arrived right after. So let's look a bit at Elven and human history. So scholars believe that humans came from the rainforest of Lavellan thousands of years ago. Elven lore also suggests that they came from Lavellan around minus 3100 ancient. So obviously Tevinter conquered and enslaved the elves. Humans are, on the most part, the species, well, the race, species, who are the most numerous of all the other races. I think with the exceptions of dwarves or something. Although it isn't common, union between elves and humans does occur. Their offspring look human and are considered elf-blooded. Elves used to be immortal, but now they live as long as humans. So the elves refer to humans as Shemlin, which means quick children, because they live shorter. And after the fall of Lavellan, the elves started to lose their immortality. They thought that it was because of the exposure to humans, which of course Fen'Harel reveals later that it's because of the creation of the veil that elves started to lose their immortality. Elves would, they mingled with humans a bit, and then they started noticing that they were dying a lot sooner. So they started to isolate themselves, which humans took as a sign of hostility, which caused them to be hostile in return. So elves isolated themselves around negative 981 ancient. Elvenan was attacked by magisters who used blood magic to sink Lavellan, which was the capital city, into the ground, never to be seen again. So part of that event of the fall of Lavellan, it's not just whoop, creation of the veil, Lavellan falls. it's like a whole series of events that, as an ensemble, is referred to as the fall of Alathan. So the creation of the veil obviously contributed, in my opinion, to the fall of Alathan. But it's still not certain if it created humans or not. There are artifacts that were found in the Brazilian forest that suggest that Lavellan was looted. So a lot of the things about the culture and about the history and what happened was either lost or destroyed, completely destroyed. And so maybe we got to find like little bits and pieces to put the puzzle together. But if most of it is destroyed, well, we're not going to find much. Elves believe that Alathan was lost to the Empyrean because their gods couldn't interfere since they were locked away by Fen'Harel. So, regardless how humans came to be, did the fall of Alathan happen because humans existed and they grew hostile towards elves? Or did the fall of Alathan happen because elves lost their immortality? Or is it because their gods were locked away and couldn't help them? Or a mix of all three things? Let me know what you think. Now, there are a few other things I want to explore with you. Sometimes a little bit related, but a little bit not also. Lord Vesperia 58 on YouTube suggested that I look this up. Little shout out. And because there's an Avarran cult who called themselves the Empty Ones, formed after Andraste's death. They believe that the blight originated from the void and that it's the Maker's will. They didn't worship the old gods. They worshiped the blight itself. And so ultimately Darkspawn, but really the blight. These people, they didn't worship Dumat. They only worshipped the blight that was caused, the first blight, by Dumat's awakening. So after Andraste's death, her followers despaired, and they thought that she had betrayed her people and that her death marked the beginning of the end of the world. So, calling themselves the Empty Ones, they believed, probably because they felt empty, they believed they were worthless husks, and they waited to be swept away by the Maker's will. They waited death. They thought that the blights would be what would end the world, and maybe it is going to be what would end the world. We don't know. And they believed that it came from the void, where the emptiness lives. They celebrated their future return to the void because it would end the pain and end the suffering. And they thought that it was the Maker's will for Thedas to be destroyed. They searched for Darkspawn in order to bring forth blights. How smart. And apparently they were destroyed during the second blight. While they were all praising the Darkspawn and the blight, well, they were obliterated by the Darkspawn. Duh. I mean, they were celebrating that they were going to return to the void, and they returned to the void because they were killed by the Darkspawn. Let me repeat a little part that I find key of their beliefs. They thought it was the Maker's will for Thedas to be destroyed. Don't we know someone who's on a mission which will destroy Thedas? Ultimately, it will result in the destruction of Thedas. All right, something else kind of related. There's a group of people referred to as the Promisers. In full, the Order of the Fiery Promise. They believe that the seekers of truth are not the real seekers of truth. The Promisers think that they, the Promisers, were the original seekers of truth. And the seekers of truth stole their mandate, and took their place. They believe that they, the Promisers, are the true seekers, and the current seekers prevented them from ending the world to allow it to be reborn as a paradise, believing that Thedas needs to be destroyed to create a better society. reborn as a paradise. Lavellan? Anyone? What's interesting about the Promisers, they seem to keep reappearing every time they're destroyed, like centuries later, or never completely destroyed. So someone's keeping them alive, either their beliefs or somehow they're surviving. Is Solus a Promiser? Or an inspiration to the Promisers? Or is it just coincidence? Because it seems kind of interesting. And it seems kind of similar to the Empty Ones too. It's kind of weird how it kind of relates and kind of not as well. So Solus has spoken of Lavellan as a paradise. And he wants to destroy, well, what he wants to do will destroy Thedas so that he can restore that paradise. So these people, they want to destroy Thedas to create a paradise. The Promisers believed that the end of the world would happen soon and that it was necessary. Is it going to happen from a blight? So, you know, like, they should get together with the Empty Ones, compare notes, find Fen'Harel, let's compare notes, let's say, oh yeah, this works, this doesn't work, okay, let's take this road. They were devoted to making them happen, like the Empty Ones, they were devoted to making it happen because that was their promise. Their promise was ending Thedas, destroying Thedas to restore the paradise. The original Inquisition destroyed the Promisers, but they reappeared in the Divine Age and were only destroyed in the Exalted Age. They reappeared again in Dragon Age Inquisition, led by Seeker Lucius. And since they want the end of the world, they were obviously helping Corypheus, and so they were ambushing the Seekers to try to destroy them so that the Seekers wouldn't interfere with what Corypheus was doing, with what Corypheus was planning. So, you know, and the Inquisitors sees it that the Promisers are destroyed, but something tells me not entirely. They're obviously still roaming around somewhere, whether they're calling themselves Promisers or not. Could the Promisers, I'm asking you, could the Promisers be linked to the Empty Ones? Could the Promisers and the Empty Ones somehow be linked together, somehow be related to Fen'Harel with what his plans somewhere? Maybe they found texts. Maybe they found texts, ancient writings about Lavellan, about the paradise, and this is what they followed, not knowing that it's Elven necessarily. Who knows? I throw these questions to you. So yeah, this is it. Didn't cough too much. Let me know what you think. Let's expand even more on these expansions of theories. And so keep those comments coming. I'm taking lots of notes down. And yeah, so thanks for watching. Like the video, subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and share it with a bunch of other geeky gamers like us. Masaranas.